Hey guys, welcome back to this episode of the Life with Lizzie show. I am your host, Lizzie Morris, and I'm so excited to have you here. So I'm currently in the bathtub having some me time. Okay, so if it sounds a little echoey or you hear water or anything like that, that is the explanation for that. But I wanted to come on here because I recently polled my Instagram, and to my surprise, I was actually shocked that the most requested topic was about food addiction. So I've been reading this book called Atomic Habits. Now, hear me out. I have read and reread the first third-ish of the book like 3 times. And then it's like I would just quit reading it. Like I would just get off track, right? And then by the time I wanted to pick it up again, I was like, I kind of forgot the things that I read. So I wanted to start it over, And the same thing would happen. So now I'm on the 3rd time or something like that of reading it. And something clicked with me differently this time. Reading the same information for the 3rd time, I finally, after, 3 years of being in, somewhat of a recovery from food addiction, I finally understood how I can explain to people an aspect that really helped me. I had been struggling for the last couple years, to come up with the right words and the right advice to give people that are struggling with food addiction. Because I felt like there was no magic formula, and there's not. Everyone's journey is going to look different. Everyone's healing is going to look different. Everyone's experience with what they're struggling with food addiction, whether it's binging, we all struggle with differently. So our journeys are going to look different. However, I knew there had to be some kind of advice that can be somewhat generalized to the point where it can help someone move a little further along in their journey. Whether it's the actual light bulb that sets off and makes everything finally fall together into place is up to them. But if it can at least be something to help somebody move along their journey and heal, get a little closer to not being, addicted to food, or really this can be applied to anything else in life, but we're talking about food addiction specifically, then I've done my job, and that's all I want. And I was struggling to find those things of advice, but reading this book the 3rd time, things have clicked differently in my brain. Essentially, the advice I want to give you today can be applicable to a lot of things in your health journey, okay? I want to talk about when you create habits, right? In order to eat healthier, in order to achieve your goals. If somebody wants to become healthier, something has got to change in your life. Because essentially where the problems come in is not having the habits in place and not aligning our identity every single day with the person that we want to be, okay? I want you to visualize the person that you would be really proud of, if you're not already proud of yourself right now. Is this person, choose to eat something that fuels their body properly versus something that makes them feel more fatigued and like crap? Choosing a healthy salad and fruit and, some high protein, and drinking some water and electrolytes versus drinking a huge glass of Coke and a fried chicken patty from, McDonald's. And what is going to actually fuel your body and make you feel better? What decision is going to take you closer to the identity of the person that you want to become? And so really what it boils down to is not a self-control thing. Self-control is very momentary. Self-control is constantly going to battle with yourself instead of asking yourself the simple question, does this fuel me or does this harm me? Does this take me closer to the person that I want to become? Does this bring me closer to my goals, or does it hurt me? And pro tip, saying it out loud to yourself. It's hard. Oh, this might feel like you're punishing yourself. This is not a punishment. This is you making or sticking to a promise that you made yourself, because you deserve to feel better, because you deserve to overcome, say, food addiction, because you deserve to overcome bad habits and develop into the person that you want to be, because you deserve that. Practicing these things are going to feel really, really uncomfortable. Being aware and not doing all these bad habits or unconscious decisions without thinking about it, moving that to a conscious decision making part of your brain and being like, oh, wow, I was about to do X, Y, and Z. And that would have really derailed me if I allowed that to happen. But because I asked myself and made myself aware of the actions that I was taking, gave myself accountability, now I'm a little more aware of my actions. Now I'm thinking, oh, no, I'm actually not doing the things. And I was sitting there wondering why I wasn't becoming the person I wanted to become, why I wasn't overcoming food addiction, why I wasn't able to do X, Y, Z, literally apply it to any type of area in our lives. Because when I sat there and became accountable to myself with my eating habits, then it all kind of fell into place. And I think a lot of times we go really a long time without being accountable with ourselves, right? That's how, if we were accountable with ourselves all the time, we would never have any problems, because we'd always be accountable and stick to the things that we want to do, you know? It takes a lot of working on yourself mentally as well. Figuring out what is triggering your food addiction. When you are binging, you know, what is it that triggered you to want to go eat a whole bag of Doritos? Because listen, this still happens to me sometimes. But there are things we can definitely try and work on that are shown to work and that do help us long term. You don't have to master it overnight. You don't have to master asking yourself those questions and making the positive choice every time. But if you have goals, if you have things you are trying to accomplish, there is going to take a certain amount of time where you are accountable, where you are sticking to that without being too lenient, because the only way you're going to be able to see any type of long-term progress that you're wanting to achieve, you're going to have to stick to something for a little while. It didn't take, 2 weeks or even 2 months or 2 years of eating unhealthy or binging on food or going through this or going through that to develop the bad habits, to develop the addictions. A lot of times it is little bits and pieces added up every single day. See yourself picking up these habits that builds up over time. The codependency on food, the trigger, the response that your brain gets when this food hits your palate. So breaking the patterns and learning how to rewire your brain, it's going to take a lot of time. For me personally, I can tell you where I believe that my food addictions and whatnot began was around 5 years old, 6 years old. And of course, I wasn't a full-blown food addict at 6 years old, right? You see what I'm saying? But by the time I was 16, I was. But that's where it began. And as I look back on my childhood and just all the years leading up, I see how it built up. And then it built up to constantly thinking about food. So I just want to express this to you, that when it comes to changing your life and manifesting things and wanting things, it's not about manifesting being rid of the food addiction. It's not about manifesting, I'll use other examples, a house or a car. It's about manifesting the person, the identity of the person that does that owns that is that. What is a person that doesn't have a food addiction? What does that look like? This is a mental game. Nobody is sitting there with a gun to our heads, forcing our hands in the pantry. Nobody. You will never see that. Nobody is forcing our bodies to do it. It is our brains telling us to. And so I also got to a point in my life when it came to my relationship with food, and I'm actually at this point now in other areas of my life, but food was the first area I addressed it in, that I kind of also got tired of feeling like I was not in control of the decisions I was making. I didn't feel in control. I do have the control. I have that power. And every day I'm going to try harder to take it back. I'm going to ask myself those hard questions, because I don't even want to say hard on yourself, being honest with yourself and realistic, not pessimistic. There's a difference between pessimistic, being negative, and realistic with yourself and honest. Being realistic and honest with yourself about the decisions you're making, the things that you're doing, the person that you want to become. It's uncomfortable. It's mentally challenging and exhausting sometimes, and can feel impossible. However, that's where I feel like truly, I say all this to say, I feel like my food addiction, that was probably the biggest piece. There's things like intermittent fasting and portion control and just the food decisions in general and drinking water and those things are important, yes. But they are not the source. They are not the identity. Because if you still identify as a food addict and are feeling those triggers to run to food and are not doing anything to combat it, then that's still your identity. Your actions are still aligning with the person that is addicted to food. And so it's going to take hard work. It's going to take mental game. It's going to take when your hand literally wants to reach in there and keep going when you know you're full and you know that your stomach hurts and things like that. And I don't even want to get into the ugly parts of food addiction that I could sit here and talk about. That is very dark. There are very dark things. It's not, I think people that don't know the deepness and the depth of it don't know how bad it can get, because everyone eats food every day. We kind of like brush it off, but it can be very ugly. It is serious. If you know it is a problem, or that you don't want to be that anymore. You don't want to experience that. You don't want to feel that physical pain. You don't want to keep harming and just feeling like crap. It has nothing to do with the scale, and has nothing to do with the way your clothes look, the way your body looks. Has nothing to do with physical appearance, and has everything to do with the way you feel and the way you want to feel. And the way you deserve to feel in this life, because we have a very short life. And so do we want to spend it with our stomach hurting, running to the bathroom because we ate like crap the last day, feeling brain fog because we ate so much carbs, like a ridiculous amount that our body totally did not need, where we want to sleep all day, where we feel dehydrated? I feel dehydrated when I eat a lot of junk food. Even if I'm drinking water, it's like it shrivels me up like a raisin. I'm so dehydrated when I eat like crap. I hate that. So ask yourself the hard questions. That's where I think this all boils down to, because once you can change your identity, you'll start to perform habits, pick up on habits that align with that person. But to see those changes, you're going to have to make change. You cannot do the same things and expect different results tomorrow, or in 6 weeks from now, or in 6 years from now. You have to do something different. And so I encourage you to apply that to any part of your life. Look at your goals based on the identity of the person that you want to be. Apply it to anything, anywhere, anytime. It'll work. And it's going to be a mental game. But I encourage you to work through it, because you deserve so. You deserve it. And there's not going to be anyone else that's going to fight as hard for you as you can fight. There can be people that try to fight for you, but no one can fight for you like you can fight for you. That's going to be my new tagline. Light bulb moment in the bathtub. No one can fight for you as hard as you can fight for you. Seriously, never in any scenario. So you got to be the one. You got to do the hard things, man. I love you, and I want to see you do all the great things in life. So if you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to go give me a 5-star review on any of the platforms. I don't know if you could do it other than Apple Podcasts. I'm sure you can leave reviews in other places, but I would so greatly appreciate that, because that helps other people see the show. Feel free to tag me on your social media at Lizzie and Littles. You can even copy the link to the show, directly paste it to your social media so your friends can easily access it. Make it super easy so they don't got to go searching. When you go search Lizzie on Apple Podcasts, podcast, a bunch of people pop up. Specifically, search Life with Lizzie if you want to find me easier. But when you just search Lizzie, I am not the first to pop up. So adding the link will make it easier for everybody. But I so greatly appreciate you guys. If you found any value from this, again, do those things. Let me know how you're enjoying the podcast. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me, ask me on my socials. I am always an open book and would love to help you on your journey to better. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you in the next episode. Love ya. Bye.